Whether it's Fresh Off the Boat or The Americans, the immigrant experience has always been an essential part of TV, and today our script features just that, so don't move a muscle.
Welcome to Popcorn Talk, featuring movie discussion, news, and interviews. Popcorn Talk. We talk movies.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Unproduced Table Read here on the Popcorn Talk Network. My name is Jeff Graham. I'll be leading the show today, and you can find me on Twitter at Jeffrey C. Graham. For those who are just tuning in for the first time, this is a show where we read Hollywood's hottest unproduced pilots and features. And today we're reading a really, really lovely, exciting, tense immigrant drama called Amerika. That's spelled with a K because it features some hardworking Russian Jewish immigrants who face problems they might not have expected before they moved from the Soviet Union. So we have amazing writer David Case in the studio, who I will introduce in just a minute. But until then, I'd love for the rest of my cast to introduce both themselves and who they'll be playing on the show today.
Well, yes, I'd love to. Hi, guys. Mike Kalinowski, good morning. Good evening or good afternoon, whichever time you're listening or watching this at. You can find me at Mike Kalinowski, and today I am playing Eron, right? Is that right? Eron, Oleg, Zev, and Fyodor.
I am Lex Michael. I am all over social media at the Lex Michael, and I am playing Billy and Young Drunk.
Hey guys, I'm Roxy Stryer. You can find me everywhere at Roxy Stryer, and I will be playing Yelena and Sexy Girl.
Hey everyone, this is Lindsay Wagner. You can find me on all things social media at Lindsay Wagner, and today I'm playing Grandma Rena, Old Woman, Solomon, the Customs Officer, Big Bully, and Veronica.
Nice.
What's up, guys? I'm Timothy Michael. You can find me on all social media platforms at I am Timothy Mike. And today I'm playing Douchebag, Fat Shimmy, Bert Greenspan, Max, Boris, Pavel, Snide Bully, Young Exec, David, and Detective.
Hi guys, I'm Brianna Phipps. You can find me at bphipps14 on Twitter and Instagram, bphipps1214 on Snapchat. I didn't know we did this, so I will try my best. I'm playing aid worker, Bella, neighbor, cashier, Angie, or not Angie, start
Jamie.
You're so close.
Thank you. Jamie, and
HR director.
an HR director.
That's
Good
impressive.
memory.
It always happens that, like, there's always one or two characters where I make the cast read like 10 parts, so I was actually very impressed by your recall just then. Finally, we have David Case, who is our amazing writer here in studio today. We're so grateful to have you. I love the script so much, and I found it featured on the blacklist. I was looking for a script like this, and yours is the highest rated for good reason. Thanks so much for being here, David. We really appreciate it.
No, it's exciting to finally get something I wrote to be table read.
Absolutely, it's our pleasure. And we would love, before we dive into the script, just for you to give us a 1 or 2 minute kind of intro about the log line, kind of the world we'll be entering, and maybe brief inspirations for your work before we dive in.
Yeah, basically, short version of Russian Sopranos.
Mm-hmm.
I was really curious about the nature of masculinity and the idea of if you were to come as an immigrant to a new country, and what are the challenges that you'd have to face?
Absolutely, and you capture it so beautifully. I don't want to say any more because the writing speaks for itself, but we're so grateful to have you. Guys, this is the pilot script to Amerika, written by David Case.
Woohoo!
Over black, string guitar, rhythmic, strange, intense. A song kicks in. Sonic Youth's Madonna, Sean, and Me, Expressway to Your Skull. It's an 80s song, but not the typical 80s bubblegum. This is different, darker. Over a montage of 80s images that give us a sense of time and place, like Larry Bird, Reagan, Gorbachev, Top Gun, Tetris, and the Space Shuttle Challenger exploding. Super. Throughout the Cold War, Soviet Jews facing systematic and institutional anti-Semitism were slowly being granted exit visas to leave the Soviet Union. Italy was the main host for these refugees, hoping to secure a new life in the West. As the song fades, a woman's voice.
I'm sorry, there's really nothing I can do.
Interior, Hebrew Immigrant Aid Society, office day. A messy office. Jewish art adorns the walls. A man sits in the visitor's chair, neatly dressed, intense. This is Aron Here we go. Shapirovsky, 37, and he speaks with a thick Russian accent. Across from him, an overworked, underpaid aid worker, her desk littered with files. Super, Ladispoli, Italy, September 1986.
I was told it would take 6 weeks. It's now 6 months. 6 months in one-bedroom apartment. My wife, 2 children, my mother, and my
He pauses just long enough for it to catch it.
brother-in-law.
You must understand, Mr. Shapirovsky, the ends will only...
Aaron interrupts, and he still has his pride.
Dr. Shapirovsky.
I'm sorry, doctor. The ends will only grant parole status to families that have already secured a sponsor. Now your application for refugee status is still being considered, but without a sponsor.
An assistant enters, drops the files on a large desk. It lands with a loud thump and reminds Aron he's not the only one in this predicament.
We are in back of red line.
Aron rises and puts on his coat.
You don't have any relatives in the United States? Any at all?
We are all God's children, are we not?
He nods goodbye and exits. Exterior street day. Aron exits the building, notices graffiti on a nearby wall, a swastika and a scornful message. Rusi Andrei Akasa. Russians go home. He takes a deep breath and heads down to the street. Cut to exterior Ladispoli Beach day. A bunch of kids run along the shoreline kicking a soccer ball. The ball breaks free, hits a bigger kid who wasn't playing. He picks up the ball and the kids wait for him to kick it back. Instead, he cruelly punts it as far as he can into the sea. The kids react, despondent. He flicks his chin at them. Andrei, Rusi. The ball lands near a rock jetty, and Max Shaparovsky, 11, who last touched it, is tasked to go get it. The jetty. Max reaches the ball, notices a dead body partially submerged, pinned against the rock like driftwood. He doesn't scream or panic. Instead, he's curious. He sees several tattoos on the corpse, stars on the shoulders, and a cathedral with 5 towers on the arm. Behind him, the kids yell, "Come on, Max, let's go!" He glances at the lifeless body once more. Exterior Ladispoli Beach day. The kids resume playing. As they run up the shore, we find Yelena Sharapovsky, 35, reading Anna Karenina. She's strikingly beautiful, the sort of woman that could lure any sailors back to shipwreck. A shadow interrupts her bliss. She looks up, annoyed. A handsome douchebag in a tight Speedo stands over her.
You are blocking my son.
Where I may be, there's even more. 300 days worth. The playground of aristocrats. Côte d'Azur.
He's Russian.
The French Riviera. It is a place fit for a queen.
She holds up her wedding ring.
I've already had my royal wedding.
The doctor? He might have been able to buy you pearls back in Moscow, sticking his fingers up those assholes in Politburo. But these things change, Yelena. A somebody in the old world might turn out to be a nobody in the new. Come with me.
And my 2 children?
Down the beach, Max hustles with the ball. The douchebag leans close with a suggestive grin.
Of course. As long as you call me daddy too.
Yelena smiles, shuts her book, and as she gathers her things.
My daddy taught me an old proverb. Don't open your mouth to eat other people's bread. Au revoir, monsieur.
She turns and heads off the beach. Exterior Ladispoli Beach Park day. Yelena walks past men playing chess. One of the players speaks to her without looking up. This is Vili, 27, whose calm, cool demeanor masks a menacing, restless tiger.
Everything all right?
Another day in paradise. Take Max with you when you're done?
Vili nods, Yelena leaves. Vili's opponent knows not to check out Yelena in front of him, but it's a struggle. Vili glances towards the beach and sees the douchebag rub oil onto his body. He then slides a chess piece forward, making his move. Cut to exterior refugee apartment building day. Temporary Jewish housing. Clotheslines hang outside windows. Interior refugee apartment living room day. Cramped space. Aron enters. His daughters Bella, 15, play violin, while his mom, Grandma Rina, 60, listens. Aron greets his mom with kisses, admires his daughter for a moment. Bella glances at him, but she's focused. Yelena prepares a simple dinner in the kitchen. He comes up behind her, kisses her neck, his hand on her hips.
You're kissing a woman with a knife in her hand.
If I did like to live dangerously, I wouldn't have married you. Where's Max?
The beach. Vili's watching him.
Aron stiffens, leans over to see what's cooking.
Pasta. Maybe you could put some caviar in it.
Oh, you have caviar?
Bella finishes, and there's a banging at the door.
Oh, come on, it's not that loud.
Bella opens the door, rolls her eyes when she sees an old woman with a cane.
Papa, it's for you.
Aron approaches.
My bones. Oh, they still hurt.
Miss Sinovsky, I told you have to go to the hospital.
Bah, I don't trust Italians. Dirty people, you. You are a good man, good doctor.
Aron sighs and gestures her inside. Interior refugee apartment living room day. Grandma Rina stares at the old woman now seated. Aron returns with medicine. Yelena eavesdrops from the kitchen.
Take 2 of these, twice a day. Do not take aspirin.
Thank you.
She reaches into her purse as if to pay for his services.
I can't take any money, Miss Irnatskovsky.
Which is news to Yelena. The old woman pulls out an amulet shaped like an open hand with an eye in the center.
This is Amsa. It is Sephardic symbol. My husband was Romanian. This is protection from evil eye.
She hands him the amulet, clasps his hands tight.
May the Lord protect you and your family.
Aron nods and smiles, escorts the woman out. As soon as the door is closed, Yelena slams a bowl down on the table, upset.
Bella, clear the table.
Don't even start.
No? Who pays for dinner? The state? This costs money. Clothes cost money.
Interior refugee apartment building hallway day. Max and Villy approach and hear shouting through the thin walls. Max is about to enter, and Villy gently pulls him back. Interior refugee apartment living room day. Yelena and Aron are mid-argument.
I know how long it's been. You don't think I don't? Every day I go to that fucking head office, asking, begging. Well, I have 3 offers. Yelena, 3 offers to practice in Tel Aviv.
And get blown up on a bus on your way to work? I will not allow my children to be raised with such violence.
Oh, my children?
America is better. Look at all the schwarzes with the drugs.
Stay out of this, Reina. We're not going to Israel. Your children, our children, they're going to be American. They're going to have every opportunity imaginable. And my husband is going to be an American doctor.
I'm trying.
She nods. I know. Villy and Max enter, breaking the tension.
Smells good.
Did you have fun today?
I played football.
Soccer. In America, they call it soccer.
Right.
They have another sport called football.
Go, wash up.
Villy pulls a chunk of Parmesan from his pocket and a clove of garlic and some basil.
On the bright side, if we had to be refugees stranded somewhere, we could do a lot worse than eat Italian.
Interior refugee apartment living room evening. The family eats dinner quietly. Not a happy table. Villy glances at his watch, wipes his mouth, and rises.
I will see everyone later.
He kisses the ladies, winks at Max, and nods to Aron as he exits. Cut to Interior Hebrew Immigrant Aid Society office evening. Quitting time. The aid worker reaches for her lamp when a tight roll of cash lands on her desk with a thump. Startled, she sees Villy at the doorway.
What is this?
He slowly approaches with quiet menace. The aid worker goes pale. She's frightened, and rightfully so.
A gift for getting the Shapirovskis to America. Aron, Yelena, Bella, Max, Rina, and Villy. Villy Dosser.
But I can't just... I don't have a sponsor.
He's close to her now, his hand gently caressing her cheek.
Little rabbit, you misunderstand. I'd prefer you get paid. But one way or the other, my family is leaving.
She swallows hard, terrified. Interior refugee apartment living room night. A knock on the door. Yelena opens it.
There's a phone call for you.
Interior refugee apartment downstairs night. Shared phone in the hallway, Yelena picks up.
Yes?
As she listens, her expression changes to one of shock. Interior refugee apartment living room night. Yelena enters the apartment and tells the family.
We have sponsor. We're going to America.
What?
We're going to America.
Rina covers her mouth. Bella and Max jump and cheer. Yelena approaches a stunned Aron and embraces him. The family celebrates, elated, relieved. But Aron's trying to make sense of the news. How is this possible? He glances at Villy's chunk of cheese on the table. Villy. Cut to Interior Ladispoli bar night. Boisterous gangsters surround Villy at a neighborhood bar. Glasses raised, shots drowned.
Laham! Don't any of you bastards know Hebrew?
What good would it do to us to know Hebrew?
Am I the only brat guy headed to the one country that will welcome us with open arms? Pooh, you are all crazy.
Then why? Beluga whale? Do you stay here as refugees?
Otevis.
It's called networking.
They all turn to Villy.
He makes contacts for business around globe. All of us do. Oleg goes to London. Solomon moves to Amsterdam.
Pointing at the others.
Belgium, LA, Tel Aviv.
He kids one of the gangsters.
Wherever the hell you're going.
They laugh. As Villy continues, he lines up several shot glasses on the bar, using them as pieces on a game board.
My friends, the good fortune of being trapped here, in this dera of a town for all these months.
One shot glass represents his friends in Italy.
We have an opportunity to not just make money, but to make history.
Villy uses the glass as pieces.
The Yakuza are in Japan, the Triads in China, the cartels of Colombia and Mexico, they are local with one product. The Irish small potatoes. Cosa Nostra, they have only here in America. But our Organizaya, Russians.
He spreads out his fingers, inserting them all into the glasses, and he lifts them.
We will be everywhere, my thieves-in-law.
They all laugh, loving the idea. Solomon, a generation older, leans into Villy.
How did someone so young get so smart?
Soviet education system.
Exterior Ladispoli bar later. Villy and Solomon have a private conversation.
The Tsar of your new world is Ziv Makovsky. They call him Little Don, mean little bastard. Bribed his way out of Moscow in 72, took control of Brighton Beach in matter of weeks. Everyone kicks up to him. The only burners boot are the Perlman brothers, young and brash.
He waves his hand, indicating their trouble.
Much cocaine. So, you get to New York, you meet Lev Kamenetsky, former dissident. The Italians would consider him consigliere to the little Don, but he's his own man.
Meaning he is amenable to change.
Da.
If you know the players, how come you're not headed to New York?
And deal with the Mudak Ziv? I'm too old. And he is Vor, my friend. Old school. Straight from the gulags during the bitch wars. The fucker walks around with a cattle prod. No, Amsterdam. It would be like entering gingerbread house. You could always come with me.
I wish I could.
Solomon pauses, leans in.
She is being looked after, Willy. By doctor. She is his family now. His responsibility. Carve path wherever you want.
It's no problem. I am in New York state of mind.
That's why I like you, Bratka. You have ambition. And great ambition is the passion of great character. You know who said that?
Napoleon. If he knew golden rule, he might have stayed in power.
What golden rule?
He lifts his drink.
Don't ever fuck with Russians.
Interior Ladispoli bar bathroom night. Billy opens the stall. Inside, gagged, cowering, beaten and bloody, is the douchebag who hit on Yelena. Oleg and the fat shimmy stand behind Billy.
So, which is bigger, your mouth or your balls? Let's find out.
Oleg comes into the stall with a knife, and the douchebag's eyes widen in horror. Cut to interior Soviet refugee apartment, bedroom night. Max sleeps on a cot. His parents asleep in the master bed. He wakes up groggy and stumbles toward the hallway. In the bathroom, Billy washes his hands. There are traces of blood on a towel. Max peeks in.
It's okay.
Max lifts the toilet and begins to pee. He spies Billy's tattoo, similar to the ones on the dead body he found on the beach. Max finishes up, flushes the toilet, and leaves. The hallway. Billy emerges, surprised to find Aron by his bedroom door. Aron gently grabs Max as he shuffles past, and Billy nods goodnight when...
So what did you do? Break her fingers?
Billy turns around.
Who? The aid worker.
Billy smiles.
Of course not.
This family, we don't do it that way.
You think there is another way?
There is always another way.
Aron. I'd love to walk a mile in your shoes. Despite your surroundings, you're still living a life of luxury. Know how I can tell? You continue to value morality.
You think it was all dinners and parties while everyone else suffered? You don't know what I faced to get where I am.
Maybe not. But I know what you will face if you want to keep going. I know what you think of me, and that's fine. But believe me when I tell you, your marriage would not last one more week in this place. I did what I had to do for all of us.
Billy leaves Aron alone in the hallway. Off Aron, hot. End of Act 1. Act 2. We hear the ping of the fasten seatbelt sign, then Peter Gabriel's Big Time blares over the screen. Exterior New York City skyline day. An overhead view of the Statue of Liberty and the Twin Towers behind her. We're on a plane. Interior JFK Airport hallway day. Faded terminal, fluorescent bulbs flicker overhead, bouncing light of drab gray walls. It's not exactly paradise. The family walks towards customs. Several police and customs officers impede their progress. Interior JFK Airport processing waiting room day. The family, minus Billy, sits in a barren room, weary. Interior JFK Airport processing day. An interrogation. Billy's stifling his irritation.
Smoke is okay.
A hand offers him a light. He takes a deep inhale. Note, the interrogations are only heard, not seen.
You speak English?
Of course. It is my dream to come to America, yearning to be free.
So tell us about the tattoos.
Too much vodka.
I thought it was against your religion.
You would say this to survivors of Nazi camps.
But you weren't in a concentration camp. Just regular old prison, right, Billy?
Whole of Soviet Union is prison. What is this about?
Take off your pants.
What?
Take off your pants. We need to see if you're circumcised.
Why you do this? Where is my family?
Take off your pants.
Billy laughs, unwilling to take their bait.
You are, how you say, fucking with me. This is America.
You think we're fucking with you? Come on. You and I both know it's you that's fucking with us.
I don't understand. Sorry, my English.
I'll explain. 1972. The United States of America forces Leonid Brezhnev to let Jews emigrate or face severe trade restrictions. In response, the KGB turns around, opens up the gulags, and dumps thousands of fucking dregs right on our shore, just like Castro and those goddamn boats.
Dregs? What is dregs?
Dregs, worthless refuse. Scum. You know, you people.
A beat. Billy takes a drag of his smoke and exhales.
When I was boy, 7, 8 years old, I was bullied for being Jew. I was beaten by group, buried in ground alive. I claw my way out of dirt and go to police. Policeman, he said, get out before we arrest you, kike. So, Mr. Policeman, do not take this personal, but you can go fuck yourself. I do not respect you. If I pull out my dick, my Jewish dick, it is only to beat you to death with it.
I'd say your English is a lot better than you let on.
Interior JFK Airport hallway day. Walking through the airport at a furious pace is Bert Greenspan, 50s. Armani suit, Florida tan. He pushes his way through the crowd.
Unfucking believable.
Interior JFK Airport processing day. Greenspan bursts through the door, trailed by by recently admonished supervisor holding Greenspan's business card.
Not another word, or by this afternoon you'll be down on the docks watching fruit flies fuck. Come on.
Wait a second.
No, we're not waiting. Not one more second. He and his family have waited long enough.
What's going on?
The supervisor steps in, hands over his card. It reads, Burton J. Greenspan, attorney, 120 Park Avenue, New York.
What's going on is we are warmly welcoming Mr. Dawson to this great country, and we are apologizing for any inconvenience we may have caused.
Greenspan pulls out the rarest of gadgets, a cell phone.
Or maybe you'd rather I call Senator Moynihan and explain how his newest constituent is being treated.
Interior JFK Airport processing hallway. Greenspan escorts Billy away from processing.
Fucking pricks. You okay?
Yes. Who are you?
Interior JFK Airport processing waiting room day. Greenspan and Billy enter. Yelena is relieved.
This is Bert Greenspan, our sponsor.
Rena cups his hands. Yelena crosses to Bert.
Thank you. Thank you.
It is nice meeting you.
For a split second, Bert is dumbstruck by Yelena's beauty.
Let's get you processed so you can be on your way.
They follow Greenspan out. Aron looks at Billy.
What was all that?
Just a misunderstanding.
Exterior JFK Airport outside the terminal day. The family emerges taking their first steps onto American soil. Max squints at the sun beaming down on them. A sky cap reaches for Max's bag, startling him. Can I take this, sir? The sky cap takes the bag and Max's eyes follow him to a limo. Bert crosses to the family to introduce Janie, 26. Billy notices how attractive she is. So does Yelena, who subtly notes Janie's outfit. The designer shoes, the coat.
This is my daughter, Janie.
She waves.
Their luggage?
All taken care of.
The skycap opens the limo door. The kids jump in wide-eyed. Exterior Brooklyn-Queens Expressway day. The limo zips along the highway. Interior limo day. The kids are amazed by the luxury. Janie opens up the fridge and offers Max a Coke. Max looks at his mom, who nods. Okay.
What kind of lawyer are you, Mr. Greenspan?
Please, call me Bert. I'm a defense attorney, but working with the JDC helping families like yours, this is my mitzvah.
Exterior Brighton Beach Avenue day. The limo drives through Brighton Beach, a distinctly Russian neighborhood at the edge of Brooklyn. All the storefronts are in Cyrillic. Bella's displeased.
This is where we're going to live? Why didn't we stay in Moscow?
Bella. It is reminding her of home.
Exterior, the Shaporovsky's new apartment day. The limo pulls up to a 3-story brick building.
Welcome to your new home.
Interior, the Shaporovsky's apartment day. The family enters the new apartment. Extremely basic by our standards, but it is a huge step up from Italy.
There are 4 bedrooms, the master bedroom's down the hall. 4? Who gets their own room?
We will discuss that later.
Max points at a phone on the wall.
We have our own phone.
What is this?
There are wrapped presents on the dining table, and Bert passes them out.
Hanukkah came earlier this year. This one's for you and Max and Bella.
Inside are crappy Jewish gifts from the JDC. Kaddish. Thank you. A Kaddish cup, a menorah, a dreidel, and a kippah for Max. The kids look confused, never having practiced their religion. Yelena opens her gift, and it's a mezuzah.
It is beautiful.
Bert realizes that their own religion is alien to them.
It goes on the doorframe.
Hey, you guys.
Janie pulls out 2 presents from her own bag. The kids open the gifts to find Sony Walkmans with Madonna and Bon Jovi cassettes. Now this is America.
Very generous.
Certainly better than some crappy dreidel. Sorry, I don't know if I was a kid. Anyway, I've got to get back to Manhattan, so take care.
Show me around sometime.
There's chemistry here, but...
I don't think so.
Please, I am new here.
Already chasing American girls, Mr. Dulce?
I don't chase girls, but women.
Nice meeting you. And good luck.
With you, I may need.
She kisses her dad, says her goodbyes, but one last look at Vili before she exits. The kitchen later. Aron is at the table with Greenspan, going over various paperwork relating to their new life. Greenspan pulls out a map, circles important places with a red pen.
We are here. Max's school is here. And the subway is over here.
And my daughter?
She would be in her first year of high school. These are advanced classes and they started 2 months ago, so they will need to interview her. Now don't worry, it's primarily Russian speaking, so she should catch up, but you must encourage her to learn English.
Bert sighs. He has some bad news to deliver.
What is it?
Normally you wouldn't have to worry about paying rent for 90 days, but with the number of families needing support back in Rome and Vienna, combined with some investments that went sour, the JDC is going to need you to start paying rent at the end of the month. Look, this is one of the bigger apartments that we have. We could move you into something smaller.
No, we will pay. Rent will not be a problem.
Oh.
I've been working hard, lining up opportunity.
Terrific.
By the front door later, Greenspan is halfway out the door and he hands out on his card.
Look, adjusting to a new life here, it's not going to be easy, but if you have any questions, anything at all, do not hesitate. You call me.
Bella's bedroom later. Bella dances with her new Walkman, unpacking. The kitchen later. Aron is on the phone.
Yes, tell Dr. Irwin that I have arrived in America. I wish to speak with... yes, Shiparovsky. S-H-A...
Max and Billy's bedroom later. Max and Billy share a room. They unpack, sharing the headphones and rocking out to Bon Jovi. Max turns down the volume. Something's on his mind.
At the airport, what were those men doing?
Asking questions.
They didn't ask Papa questions. They think you're bad?
Then let them think that. People are the same everywhere, Max. They're full of hate. But everyone understands 2 things. Fear and respect. It's up to you to decide how you want to be treated.
Yelena peeks in.
I hope this is okay, you and Max sharing.
It's fine. Even if he snores like T-80 battle tank.
He tickles Max.
I do not.
Yelena inches closer, squeezes Billy's hand.
I'm glad you're here with us.
She lets go, exits, but her affection still lingers. Cut to interior McDonald's restaurant evening. Big Macs, French fries, and Cokes. The men enjoy it, the women not so much. They're surrounded by ethnicities.
This is the most popular restaurant in America?
Max stuffs his face with fries.
Bert mentioned there is a welcome party for us.
Then Bella and I need to go shopping. Max too.
I don't want to go shopping.
Okay.
Bella grins at the news.
Okay. You're not going to argue?
It is a time to celebrate. Besides, if I try to argue, I know I will lose.
Yelena lets out a sly smile.
Doctors in this country make big money. They play golf and have summer home.
And thieves in this country, too. They make big money, too.
Max and Bella look up, confused. What is she talking about?
Hey, nah, naughty girl.
New country, boy chick. Could be fresh start or fresh grave.
Yelena glares. Jesus, in front of my kids?
Mama, that's enough.
What? Please, I'm old, not dead.
An awkward beat, then...
Are you going to learn to play golf, Papa?
Only if you come with me.
Aron rubs his son's head. Vili smiles and finishes his meal.
I'll see everyone later.
Where are you going?
Wherever I want. Isn't that incredible?
He hugs and kisses the family, making sure to plant a big fat wet one on Rena. Cut to exterior Battery Park evening. Vili gazes at the newly restored Statue of Liberty. He smiles, filled with purpose. Around him, happy couples and families take souvenir photos. Interior electronics store night. Narrow shop filled with the latest Japanese and American TVs and ghetto blasters. As Vili picks up the latest craze, the salesman chimes in. Disposable camera. Brand new from Fuji. Take your shots. Click, 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 then drop them off at a 1-hour photo and boom, you've got pictures. Amazing technology, eh? Very cheap. You want?
Sure.
At the register, Vili observes the customer in front of him hand the cashier a credit card. The cashier slides the card across 3 pieces of carbon. It makes a distinct ka-chunk sound. Vili's curious as the carbon is tossed into the trash. Interior gym night. Old school weightlifting gym. Boris, 31, an ex-Olympian, grunts and grimaces as he performs a 300-pound clean and jerk. He finishes the lift and Vili applauds. Boris drops the weight and grabs Vili in a massive bear hug.
Vili, let me look at you. You're a little otina last time I saw you.
And you're as solid as ever.
Only where it counts. How is your sister? Still beautiful?
More than ever.
I change, we talk on way, okay?
Exterior gym street night. Boris and Vili walk and talk. Boris in civvies.
Yelena had a little boy and girl?
Now not so little. 14 and 11.
Anya and I have 2 children, Sasha and Sergey, handful.
And your dad?
Cancer.
Billy bumps into a pedestrian.
Sorry.
He reveals to Boris the wallet he just lifted. That bump was no accident.
Aha, you have not lost your Dutch.
Billy shows Boris 4 more stolen wallets in his jacket pocket. Boris laughs, and Billy inspects his new prize.
Fuck.
Inside, one measly $20 bill.
What is it with these Americans? They don't have cash. They have these...
He pulls out the credit cards.
You have much to learn about AMERIKA, Braka.
Cut 2. Interior, Svoboda Social Club night. A pawn is moved forward on a chessboard. Billy and Boris enter the smoke-filled lounge, where old Russian men drink, relax, and play chess. Lem Kamenetsky, late 50s, makes a move on his board and waves them over. He's the power broker, the puppet master.
We're not interrupting.
He takes days to make next move.
Lev Kamenetsky, Willy Dosser.
They shake hands. He offers them both a seat. Billy hands Lev a gift, a tin of caviar. Beluga. How old are you?
27.
You look younger.
I have good genes. My grandfather, he lived to be 100.
I doubt I will be so lucky. I worked too long as scientist in Soviet nuclear program. Until Party thought maybe it's not a good idea to have a Jew with missile codes. Solomon told me much about you. You're ambitious, smart, eager to earn. I say okay and secure a position for you at Club Rasputin.
The club?
Rasputin is the pride and province of Little Don. Any and all activity related to Brighton Beach is conducted through the People's Court, located upstairs.
This is good news, Willy. Rasputin is an important place.
You work hard, you listen, good things will come.
Thank you very much.
Willy rises respectful. Willy, remember, you're there because I vouched for you. Do not disappoint me. Interior Lolita Strip Club night. A frizzly-haired stripper slides down a pole where Boris waits with a bill in his teeth. He nuzzles it down the stripper's G-string and turns to Willy.
As I said, Willy, you have much to learn about AMERIKA.
He hands Willy a wad of cash. Willy glances at the cash, at the girls, feels the pulse of the music. He smiles. This is just the beginning. Cut 2. Interior, the Shaporowski's apartment, master bedroom night. Aron and Yelena get ready for bed.
Your mother had some mouth on her tonight. Talking to Willy like that in front of Bella and Max.
She's worried about him.
Please. She thinks he's a rabid dog ready to put down.
No, what do you think?
I think you have no idea what it's like to fight for table scraps, and you grew up rich, privileged, even by Russian standards.
Yes, I did. And those same privileges got your brother out of prison. So I think a little more appreciation is in order, for me and my mother.
You have your trophy to put on display. You need more? Do I need to wake up every day and say thank you for pulling me out the gutter and giving me all of this? I went in the cage willingly. Don't expect we'll do the same.
Aron moves in to comfort her, to apologize, to kiss her, to take her. She flinches for a moment.
No.
He persists, and she gives in. Eventually collapsing into each other's arms, they kiss passionately. Aron pushes her onto the bed and pulls off her panties and enters her. Yelena claws at Aron's back. It's primal. As their bodies grind, the bed knocks the wall, making a dull thump, thump, thump. The sound increases in volume, the tone changing to something deeper and more menacing as we black out. End of Act 2. Act 3. Interior subway morning. Yelena and Bella ride a subway littered with graffiti. Commuters read the paper and drink coffee. Bella catches the occasional man staring lasciviously at her and Yelena. We hear preteen voices reciting the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States. Cut 2. Interior the Shaporowski's apartment, master bedroom morning. Aron dresses in front of the mirror and straightens his tie.
And to the republic for which it stands.
Cut 2. Exterior Club Rasputin morning. The restaurant/nightclub certainly lacks glamour in the light of day. Billy stands outside in his finest studs, ready to make a good first impression.
One nation, under God.
He adjusts his cuff, dusts off any lint and enters. Cut 2. Interior Jewish day school, classroom morning. Max listens, nervous as his classmates finish.
With liberty and justice for all.
He feels eyes behind him and turns to see 3 boys glaring at him. Bullies. Cut 2. Interior Club Rasputin morning. Large, decadently decorated space with a staircase. The manager, Pavel, approaches. He's not one for bullshit.
I'm Willy Dosser. I was sent here by Lev Kamenetsky to meet Ziv.
This way.
Willy follows him past the stage and tables to the kitchen, where a cook peels potatoes. A puzzled look crosses Willy's face. Pavel tosses him an apron and points to the dirty dishes.
Is this a mistake?
There is no mistake.
Pavel throws Vili a death stare. Vili relents.
No problem. I like to get my hands dirty.
And when you're done with that, vacuum and mop.
Pavel exits. Vili takes a moment, then puts on the apron. Interior Bloomingdale's department store day. One of Manhattan's iconic palaces of luxury. Bella's eyes light up at the sight of designer labels and makeup booths. Interior Bloomingdale's department store Junior's Day. Bella peruses the racks. She's never seen colors like these. Interior Bloomingdale's department store day. Yelena models a dress in front of the three-way mirror. Janie sits a stack of dresses next to her.
Please bless me that black one.
Janie glances at the price tag. Wow, that's steep. As Yelena takes it into the dressing room, Janie hems and haws.
Yelena, I'm not sure if you're aware.
Yelena emerges with the new dress.
How do I look?
Janie sighs. She doesn't want to embarrass her.
You look great.
Cut to Interior Beth Israel Hospital day. Aron enters the hospital amazed. It's clean, modern, busy. Cut to Interior Club Rasputin day. Vili mops the floor and hears laughter coming from the upstairs. The little Don, Zeev Makovsky, descends the stairs with one hand under the short skirt of the hostess, the other holding what appears to be a cane. A large bodyguard keeps back a few paces. She swats away his hand and heads to her podium.
Ziv, I'm Vili Dosser.
The bodyguard steps in front of Vili, blocking him. Standing way too close, Zeev throws a quick glance back at Vili, disinterested.
I'm grateful for the job, but I wonder if this is best use of my talents.
Vili tries to ignore the bodyguard.
You know what amazes me about our people? They are educated and cultured. We are engineers, doctors, scientists, but in America, we look at our jump-upping floors.
Zeev turns and moves his cane towards Vili's knees. This cane, it's actually a cattle prod.
You have to a knee, yes? To kneel before no man.
Zeev raises the prod towards Vili's shoulders.
And stars and shoulders to show your captain, a respected member of the war.
Then, leaning in.
Here, you need to earn my respect, Villadosar. The work shows me the workman. You get me?
Of course. Cleanest floor ever. Promise.
Zeev returns to the hostess's affection.
Do we have problem?
Da! Ivan Luchenko. Remember him? The bodyguard glances at Vili's neck, observes a small scar below his ear. The bodyguard lets out a soft, mocking grunt. Every dish you wash, you thank him, because dishwasher is all you will ever be. The bodyguard glares and exits with Zeev. Off Vili, watching them go. Cut to Interior Beth Israel Hospital waiting room day. Aron looks at his watch. Been here a while. There's a TV on playing an episode of General Hospital. Good-looking doctors with incredible hair. Aron watches, amused by the glamour ascribed to his trade. Cut to Interior Bloomingdale's department store day. Janie's looking for Yelena and Bella, worried. Locates them already ringing up their large stack of purchases at the register. Other customers waiting impatiently behind them. At the register, Yelena holds about $100 in her hand. The annoyed cashier speaks slowly and loudly as if that were going to make a difference.
Ma'am, do you understand? This is not enough money.
The customers behind her let out one of those audible, come on already breaths.
Do you have a card?
Card?
Janie interrupts. She sees the register tally. $27,053.66.
She means a credit card. It's a way of paying, but you don't have one. I'm sorry, I should have explained. I don't know what things cost back in Russia, but you can't afford all this. She's from Russia?
Yelena glances at the people around her, mortified and humiliated.
Why not just pick one for you and one for...
Yelena grabs Bella and firmly storms out. Cut to Interior Jewish Day School Playground Day. Max is shoved hard against a chain-link fence. Hard. It's recess, the corner of the schoolyard, and 3 of the bullies are having their way.
Fucking commie. That's what you are. You're no Jew. You're a fucking KGB pinko commie.
They pull his kippa off his head.
You don't deserve a kippa. Don't even know what it is.
The big bully smears his hand in Max's face.
You tell the teacher, the principal anything, and I'm gonna fucking knock you out like Rocky did to Drago. Bam! You understand me, Ivan?
The bully slaps Max, and Max nods.
Welcome to hell.
The bullies leave. Off Max, frightened.
Dr. Shaprovsky, I'm sorry to keep you waiting.
Cut to Interior Beth Israel Hospital waiting room day.
I'm Linda Rodriguez, Director of HR.
HR?
Sorry, Human Resources.
Where is Dr. Irwin?
Dr. Irwin is currently unavailable, but he asked me to speak with you. Please.
She gestures for him to follow her. Interior Beth Israel Hospital hallway day. Walk and talk.
So, you're from the Soviet Union? How did you meet Dr. Irwin?
A medical conference in Prague.
Oh. So you were allowed to travel?
Not very far.
She smiles.
This hospital is most impressive.
State of the art. One of the best in the country.
Interior Beth Israel Hospital HR office day. They arrive at her office.
Please, have a seat. So, how can I help you?
Help me?
There's an awkward beat.
I am surgeon. I'm here for job. Dr. Irwin, he say he could use a man like me.
And he told you this in Prague?
I have made arrangements.
I'm sorry, there was a misunderstanding.
Misunderstanding?
Doctor, there's no easy way to say this. The United States has no formal relation with the Soviet Union. Therefore, I am unable to certify your medical degree. You cannot be a doctor. Not until...
Cannot be a doctor. I have been surgeon for 15 years. I operate on most powerful people in Soviet Union, including Premier. I am best surgeon in Soviet Union.
But not here. Not until you go back to school, pass all the necessary exams, and complete a training program which we call a residency.
Go back to school? This is insult. I'm not a child.
When it comes to Western medicine, you are. Everyone knows that your former country is decades behind the West in terms of medicine. Medical care, facilities, services, equipment, and training. As far as this or any other hospital is concerned, you're not qualified to practice medicine in this country. I'm sorry, but that's the truth.
These words are like daggers. Aron is floored.
Pass the exams, doctor. Complete your residency, and you're back at the operating table.
How long will this take?
4 years?
4? I have family to support. Give me test, I show you. I catch up in 30 days.
I can't do that. I'm sorry. I don't make the rules. America is an opportunity doctor. Hard work is rewarded. And if you're as talented as you say, the sky's the limit. My secretary will provide you with a list of accredited schools and programs.
Aron rises.
Thank you for your time.
Interior Beth Israel Hospital waiting room day. Aron receives brochures from the secretary. He nods thanks, but he's just gonna go through the motions. He's somewhere else. He glances up. The TV doctor kisses a sexy woman. A painful reminder of how unglamorous his life has just become. Exterior Beth Israel Hospital day. Aron exits, his feet like they're filled with concrete. He comes to a stop, stands there, unmoving, as busy New Yorkers living their lives whoosh around him. No one notices him. He stares off into space, the 1,000-yard stare. Lost, looks around. This place, this city, it's hostile, alien. Eventually he looks down and gazes at the brochures in his hand, tosses them in the trash, walks away, suddenly feeling very cold. Cut to Interior Fish Market day. The heads of smoked whitefish stare at us with lifeless eyes. A hand reaches for one. Anything else? Boris is ordering food with Villy by his side.
Half a pound of stable. You just need to be patient. New employee always start at bottom, work the way up.
That's not the problem.
No? Then what is?
Exterior Brighton Beach Boardwalk day. Boris nibbles on some bread and carries his groceries. He's been listening to Villy pitch an idea.
Villy, this is crazy. Shumashedzi.
I need to do this.
You just arrived. Why take risks like this?
I didn't come here to wash dishes.
It is honest work.
Come on. This is killing 2 hares. 1 shot. Then I have the freedom to earn.
Earn? Earn what? Cattle product shoved up your ass? Maybe mine?
This won't come back to you, I promise.
And live? How would you explain this to him? If you are so lucky to succeed.
I'll take care of it. But I can't do this without you. Are you in?
Boris considers.
Okay, Bratka. Let's see what kind of man you've become.
Cut to Interior the Shaporowski's apartment, master bathroom night. Aron washes his face, lingers in front of the mirror staring. He sighs deeply and turns off the water. The master bedroom. Yelena lies on the bed, naked and inviting. A dessert for the conquering hero. He climbs into bed. She rubs his shoulders, his arms, peppers his body with soft kisses as she speaks.
So, where do you want to live? Upper East Side? Park Avenue, or do we go to the country? East Hampton, Sedge Harbor, Oyster Bay.
Aron looks at her, his hand on her cheek, tender.
Yelena.
He's about to tell her the truth. I can't be a doctor. But ultimately relents, saying instead,
wherever you want to go.
She kisses him on the lips.
This is doctor's order.
He forces a smile. She kisses his chest, moving down towards his belly. He stops her.
I'm tired.
Yelena looks at him, surprised. She shrugs and positions herself to sleep. Aron stares at the ceiling, worried. End of Act 3. Act 4. Interior, the Shaporowski's apartment, master bedroom, morning. Aron dresses in front of a mirror. Looks professional. Tie, dress suit, dark pants, a doctor's outfit. He looks at his watch, and the date says it's the 28th.
I'll be home late.
Yelena emerges from the bathroom in a towel, lets out a frustrated sigh. Again?
This is 2 weeks now.
I need to catch up. Healthcare here is very different. The paperwork, the process. It's worse than bureaucracy in Moscow.
I hope you're paid extra for all these late nights.
Aron adjusts his tie, pulls out some cash from his wallet and leaves it on the dresser. Yelena glances at it.
That's not enough.
Aron glances back at through the mirror. Why not?
I hired tutor for Bella next.
Since when?
I told you, you just don't remember.
They just started school.
And already they're behind.
Aron sighs and opens his wallet.
Bella also has violin lessons. Our children need structure, Aron. Would you rather see them on the street after school?
Aron empties his wallet, places his remaining cash on the dresser. Yelena dresses with her back to him, finds a small hole in the fabric, and lets out a disgusted sigh. That's just perfect.
Yelena.
She turns around, ready for a fight, finds him gazing at her, a softness in his eyes.
I like the Upper West Side, near Central Park.
He kisses her goodbye. Yelena senses something amiss.
If there is emergency, who do I call?
What emergency?
Never mind. Have a good day.
She watches him leave, suspicious. After a beat, Yelena tears the hole wider, destroying the dress. The kitchen. Rena washes dishes. Yelena enters, tense, with the remnants of the dress. The garbage can is under the sink.
Excuse me.
Sorry.
Rena steps out of the way, and Yelena shoves the dress in the trash. As she exits, Rena calls out.
I use the last of the eggs. The children's breakfast.
Cut to interior Abraham Lincoln High School, classroom day. Bella enters the classroom, unsure of where to sit. A pretty new wave girl makes eye contact and offers her the desk next to her. Bella sits down next to Veronica, 15. They exchange smiles. No time for introductions as the bell rings. Cut to exterior apartment building day. A Lincoln Mark 7 sedan pulls up in front of an apartment building. Boris is behind the wheel and Billy rides shotgun. Interior, exterior, Boris's card day. Billy tests his disposable camera and snaps a picture.
Second floor, rear apartment. But hurry, I doubt the old Huesos has stamina to go longer than few seconds.
Billy gets out and crosses the street, slyly checks that the coast is clear, and sneaks around to the back of the building. Exterior, back of the building day. Billy spots the second floor window, scales his way up the building carefully using the gutter, then a ledge. Interior apartment day. Billy slowly appears in the window. We don't see what he sees, but there's no mistaking the squeak, squeak, squeak of mattress springs and the grunts of people having bad sex. Billy smiles and snaps a few pictures. Pulling back, we see the edge of the bed, a pile of expensive clothes on the floor, and a cattle prod. Zeev's prized possession. Cut to interior local market day. Yelena places a carton of eggs on the counter. Exterior street day. Yelena exits the market, crosses the street when she hears loud music. Don't You Want Me by Human League. Coming from a flashy car. A hot girl gets out of the car. Spiky hair, tight-ripped jeans, bare midriff. Blatantly bends her ass over as she kisses the driver goodbye. The hot girl blows a kiss as her beau drives off. She glances at Yelena and scoffs as she brushes past. Cut to exterior building, industrial park near JFK Airport, day. A plane roars overhead, its engines wailing. Aron, in a white lab coat, sits on the loading dock, bites an apple as he circles potential jobs in the classified section of the paper. Hearing a coworker approach, he quickly stuffs the paper in his pocket. Break's over. Aron takes one last bite of his lunch and follows him. Inside the building, Aron flies past rows of caged livestock, machinery, and rooms separated by plastic sheets. Aron's new job is at a slaughterhouse. The killing floor. A cow is pushed into a narrow pen, the door closed behind it. The head meat cutter puts the animal's head, a tinge of remorse, then shoots it through the brain with the .22 rifle, killing it instantly. Aron watches, grim. He and his coworker hook a chain around the hind leg of the animal and hoist it out of the pen so it hangs upside down over a large garbage bucket labeled inedible. Then the head cutter hands Aaron a knife with a nod. Aron slices open the 1,500-pound steer below the neck so it can bleed out. All three work in tandem, slicing the animal, removing the hide, and another worker hoses the blood off the floor, sending it down a drain. Cut to interior, the Shaporowski's apartment, master bedroom, day. Yelena's clothes are all over the floor. She's finally found something that works, a tight dress that shows cleavage. Rena stands in the doorway, and Yelena's annoyed.
What do you want, Rena?
You need to show more appreciation for your husband.
You mean to cook fold laundry, clean house. I am his wife, mother of his children. I am not a maid.
You demand so much of him. Never once do you think about what you could do better.
But I do show him appreciation, Rena.
She points to the bed.
Perhaps if you were better where it counted, your husband wouldn't have left you for another woman. I have always held my end of the bargain. Always.
She storms out. Interior subway day. Yelena rides the subway and sees the next stop, Wall Street. She fixes her hair as businessmen board the train. Most of them have their heads buried in the Wall Street Journal, but one young executive notices her. She locks eyes with him, then she looks away. She's hooked him, and he won't stop staring. The subway station. Yelena exits the subway car, and the eager young exec chases after. He's the sort of upstart guy fueled on cocaine and cash. The subway steps. As Yelena climbs the stairs to the street, the young exec tracks her down.
Excuse me, miss, where you headed?
Yelena smiles. Interior Bloomingdale's department store day. Yelena drops the stack of dresses on the desk in front of the cashier, the same cashier as before.
Cash or credit?
The cashier looks up and recognizes her as the young exec hands the cashier his gold card.
Credit.
The exec puts his hand on Yelena's ass. She subtly removes it. Exterior, in front of Bloomingdale's day. The young executive holds open a taxicab's door for Yelena. She gives him a peck on the lips, gets in the cab, shopping bags in tow. He hands her his card.
Call me.
You're sweet.
She climbs in the cab and he closes the door. The cab. Yelena, surrounded by shopping bags, smiles, satisfied. Exterior, Brighton Beach Boardwalk day. Bella and her new friend Veronica walk along the boardwalk. Veronica straddles a bench, pulls out a pack of smokes. She offers one to Bella, who accepts.
My family got here in 82. Staying here was supposed to be temporary, but my dad, he was a marine engineer with 2 advanced degrees. Now he works at a boatyard. Everyone was talking about, oh, America, life is going to be so different. We're going to be free. This place is a fucking ghetto.
A young hustler approaches with an entourage of Russian hoodlums. This is David Perlman, 21. A bit like Villy in that he's both sanguine and dangerous. The hoodlums hang back.
Aren't you supposed to be in school?
It's fucking 3:30.
Kiss with that mouth?
No, because you'll beat the living shit out of whoever I do kiss.
Ha, that was one time and he was a total asshole.
It's true. He was.
Who's your friend?
Bella. This is my brother David.
You're very beautiful.
She's in my class, David.
David takes her cigarette and takes a drag.
Sometimes, Veronica, a pipe is just a pipe.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Freud. It's a quote from Freud.
David smiles. Bella has brains and beauty. He pulls out some cash and hands it to his sister. She reaches for it, and he pulls it back, teasing.
Mama will kill you if she smells cigarette smoke.
What, she won't kill you?
I'm a boy.
He winks at Bella and leaves. Bella watches him go, curious. Cut to interior Russian bathhouse steam room day. Boris and Villy relax, getting a good sweat. A few other men also there. A man enters and makes himself comfortable. We'll call him Fyodor. Boris and Villy nod to each other. That's him. The shower stalls. Fyodor hangs his towel outside the stall, along with his numbered locker key. As he turns on the water, closes his eyes under the shower head, Villy swipes the key. Men's locker room. Fyodor opens his locker, surprised to find a large envelope inside. He opens the envelope and finds Villy's photos of Zeev doggy style with a woman. Interior, exterior, Boris's car, Russian bathhouse day. From Boris's car across the street, Villy and Boris watch Fyodor exit the bathhouse. He's quietly boiling.
This is the reaction.
Wait for it.
As if on cue, Fyodor explodes with rage, kicks the trash can over, and screams at the top of his lungs. Boris smiles, pleased. He nudges Villy with his elbow.
Ha! What did I tell you? He is mad like bull. Now, it is up to the matador.
Cut to interior slaughterhouse day. Aron washes his hands at a sink. The manager's office. Aron stands in front of the manager.
Could I be paid today?
I gave you an advance last week. You blow through that cash already, and so lay off the champagne and caviar.
I have family.
I was kidding. That was a one-time deal, bub. Sorry, you'll have to wait until next Friday like everyone else. Don't forget to punch out. Aron nods as he exits. The locker room. Aron notices an overstuffed wallet resting on a shelf in an open locker, and cash spills out of it. Aron's coworker hangs his shirt, takes the wallet, and slams the locker shut. Have a good night, man. Aron frowns, uncomfortable with what he has just been thinking. Cut to interior, the Shaparovsky's apartment, living room night. Max is at the kitchen table reading Watership Down aloud, while Rena knits and listens.
To rabbits, everything unknown is dangerous. The first reaction is to startle, the second to bolt. Again and again they startled until they were close to exhaustion. But what did these sounds mean, and where? In this wilderness, could they bolt to?
Bella's bedroom. Bella enters surprised to find brand new dresses from Bloomingdale's laid out on her bed, the result of Yelena's tactics. The master bedroom. Yelena tries on one of her new dresses. Bella appears showing off her new favorite dress.
Bella, type Kanza. You like?
Mama, I love.
They pose in the mirror together, laughing, playing. Cut to exterior trendy bar, night.
Yo, taxi!
A taxi pulls up to the curb as a young drunk stumbles toward the cab and climbs in. His buddy's behind him, making out with a sexy girl. We don't get a good look at the buddy's face. Interior taxi, night. Aron is the driver. He's exhausted, waiting patiently as the buddy tries to woo the sexy girl into the cab.
No, I'm not getting in the cab with you. I gotta get back inside.
Come on.
Stop by tomorrow. Happy hour?
What? Here?
You got a problem with that?
God damn, you're fucking hot.
Tomorrow.
Okay, tomorrow. One more kiss, and finally he plops into the seat, closes the door. The buddy, it turns out, is Yelena's young executive. He does a bump of coke.
73rd and Central Park West. Take me away from these blue ballin' bitches.
Hope I don't puke.
Aron starts at the meter and pulls into traffic. Cut to interior bar, night. Billy enters and makes his way down to the middle of the bar.
Vodka.
He nods to the guy knocking back shots nearby, Fyodor.
So, what did she do? Leave you? Drinking like that, it's got to be a woman.
Fuck off.
Billy sips his drink. Fyodor downs another shot.
A couple of years ago, I found out my girl was cheat. God, was I angry. I decided I need to teach her a lesson. I thought I would beat the shit out of her. It's natural, right? I am man. She deserves it. But then I realized, what would that prove? Nothing. She would fear me, yes, but she would not respect me. And woman needs to respect man. So I did something else. And that bitch never disrespected me again.
Oh, what did you do?
Billy smiles and waves the bartender over. Interior, exterior, taxi, night. Aron arrives at 73rd and CPW. The two drunks get out of the cab, start walking down the street. They're stiffing him. Aron gets out of the cab, angry, chasing after.
You need to pay the fare.
Yeah, bill me.
Hey!
Aron grabs the young executive's shoulder and the exec retaliates, spins, and punches Aaron hard in the stomach. Oof. Aaron drops his car keys, kneels over in pain, the wind knocked out of him.
Don't fucking touch me.
Come on, man, let's go.
He lifts Aron's wallet, taking the cash, and picks up the keys.
Now you got two choices. This way?
He heaves the keys over the wall into the park.
Or that way?
He spits on the curb and walks away. Aron clutches his stomach as they disappear down the street. Cut to interior taxi cab company, night. Aron pleads with the dispatcher behind the window.
I was mugged.
You still owe me for the lease. Aron takes off his shoe, where he's hidden some money. He peels off a few bills and slams them on the desk. Interior subway, night. Aron rides the subway home, distraught. On the floor, a newspaper headline catches his eye. He picks up the paper and it reads, "Ailing monkey, begging for funds to pay bills. Mugged." Aron reads the article, astounded. New York. A 2-year-old monkey recovering from a stroke was mugged in front of a posh Fifth Avenue department store. The monkey, known as Mr. Mike, was with his owner, Anthony Angelo, 26, when the incident occurred Saturday outside of Saks Fifth Avenue. At the other end of the car, a drunk homeless man mutters. Aron shifts, uncomfortable. America is an ugly place. Interior, the Shaporowski's apartment, kitchen, night. Aron's on the phone. He's pulled the cord as far to the corner as possible.
Dr. Aron Shaporowski. I'm calling from America.
Aron waits, then...
Michael, Aron Shaporowski? Yes, it so happens I've just been thinking about the job offer. So tell me, does Tel Aviv still need surgeon?
He listens, reacting to bad news. The position's been filled. He nods, dismayed.
Of course.
He hangs up the phone, defeated. The master bedroom. Aron stands in the doorway. He glances at Yelena laying in bed, her back to him. She's awake, aware of his presence, pretending to sleep. He doesn't enter. The living room. Aron sits in the darkness, brooding, like a king losing his throne. He buries his face in his hands, cracking, falling apart. End of Act 4. Act 5. Interior Club Rasputin, night. The club is packed, plenty of 80s glitz. At a table, David Perlman and his entourage hold court, lots of girls around. They're doing bumps, taking shots. Billy approaches. He's bussing tables tonight. He starts clearing the empties, glances at David doing a bump.
What the fuck you looking at?
Billy looks away and pretends to be chastened. He takes his bin, weaves through the crowd, dancing to New Shoes' Point of No Return, eventually passing Fyodor, standing on the edge of the dance floor. He sips a beer, numb. Descending the stairs, Zeev and his bodyguards, followed by a who's who of Russian mobsters. Fyodor pulls out a .38 revolver, makes his way through the crowd, and the bodyguard sees Fyodor out of the corner of his eye, reaches for his weapon, too late. Fyodor fires. Blam! Blam! The bullets rip through the bodyguard's chest and he falls, dead. Nearby, patrons react to the gun blasts. Some panic, others are confused. What was that popping sound? The music is loud, so Fyodor aims at Zeev, about to fire, and Vili chops the shooter's forearm, jams a broken bottle into his neck, and kills him. Fyodor's eyes bulge at the sight of Vili before he dies, collapsing in a heap. Zeev, breathing hard, looks at Vili, stunned. At the table, David Perlman cranes his neck, curious about the commotion. Interior Club Rasputin night later. A coroner zips up the body bag containing Fyodor's corpse. The club is empty except for police. A weary detective finishes taking statements.
I am busboy. I see gun. I use bottle. I stop him.
Do you have any idea why he was trying to kill you?
I was fucking his wife, okay? Are we done?
The detective looks them both over and shuts his notebook.
Yeah.
The detective leaves.
Is there going to be problem?
New York police not like Milistia. They don't even like coming here. Busboy.
Zeev smiles, pats Vili's cheek, proud as he heads upstairs. Vili lets out a sly smile. Interior the Shaporowski's apartment, master bedroom, morning. Aron opens his medical bag and looks for something inside. Interior the Shaporowski's apartment, kitchen, morning. The family eats morning breakfast. Vili enters in a great mood.
You're up early.
Vili rubs Max's head, then pours himself a cup of coffee.
I guess I'll be catching worms.
Aron enters dressed like a doctor, very serious. Vili watches as Aron spreads butter on the toast.
Will you be late again?
Aron doesn't answer.
Rent is due tomorrow.
Aron says goodbye to the kids, toast in his mouth.
Have a good day at school. Have a good day in school.
He exits, Vili and Elena exchange glances, and Vili exits the kitchen. Interior slaughterhouse day. Aron skins another animal. He's all business. Interior slaughterhouse lockers day. Aron changes his clothes, slams his locker. Exterior trendy bar afternoon. Aron sits in his parked car. The off-duty sign is on. The young exec approaches the bar and enters. Aron opens his medical bag and takes out a surgical knife. He exits the cab and palms the blade in his hand, concealing it. Interior trendy bar afternoon. Aron enters the bar, scans the crowd, finds the young exec chatting up the same sexy girl as the other night. Aron takes a breath. He's sweating a little bit, nervous, grips the blade, and slowly moves toward the exec, determined. As he closes in on his victim, Vili stops him.
Buy you a drink?
Aron spins, surprise. Vili glances at the knife.
Whatever you're thinking of doing, stop.
What are you doing here?
The look on your face this morning, it is a look I know all too well.
You been following me?
From the slaughterhouse to the garage. What did he do?
He stole my money.
This is not the way.
Who are you to tell me?
I'm your brother. This is not the way. There is always another way. Come on.
They exit. The young exec finally turns around, oblivious to what transpired around him. Into exterior trendy bar afternoon. Vili commiserates with Aron.
Don't worry about rent. I will take care of it. But lying to my sister?
If she knew the truth, she'd pack her bags and never look back. You know that. You can't tell her.
I do not get between husband and wife.
She thinks she's just a possession. But I really do love her, Vili.
Then, Bratka, you need to figure out what you have to do to set things straight. Because the life you once led is over.
Cut 2. Interior, the Shaporowski's apartment, master bedroom, morning. Yelena wakes up. Something catches her eye. On the dresser, a thick wad of cash. Cut 2, exterior Manhattan courthouse day. Bert Greenspan exits the courthouse and descends the steps. He's surprised to see Yelena waiting for him.
Miss Shaporowski, this is an unexpected pleasure.
Your security said I could find you here for the rent.
She hands him the cash.
Oh, I don't collect it. You need to pay the landlord. I'll take care of it.
Thank you for everything.
She gently squeezes his arm. An invitation?
Can I buy you a cup of coffee?
I would like that.
I know a great place, just up the street.
Yelena takes Bert's arm as they walk. Cut 2. Exterior Svoboda Social Club day. Lev sits alone in front of a chessboard. Vili approaches carrying a brown bag. Lev gestures for him to sit. Do you play?
A little.
There's a variation of the game that is quite popular called Blitz. speed chess. Each player is given only 5 minutes to make a move, as opposed to the standard 60 to 180.
I know it. Bobby Fischer was world champion in 70s.
And Fischer, like all the grandmasters, held the game in contempt. To them, it is a joke. He looks Billy square in the eye. A real player has patience. Why did you send Fyodor Strapovich after Little Don? Billy tries to hide his surprise. How would he know? A colleague of mine was in the bathhouse when you and Boris paid him a visit. Billy comes clean.
I wasn't after the Don, just his bodyguard. In prison, his cousin, Ivan Luchenko, gave me this.
Billy shows Lev the scar on his neck. And you more than returned the favor. So, blood being thicker than even vodka, you decided to kill the bodyguard before he could kill you?
And in such a way that I earn the favor of the king, gain his trust.
And what better way than by saving his life?
I killed 2 hares with 1 shot. And now?
He slides an envelope to Lev, a tribute.
You put me in a club so I could earn. Luchenko was impediment to progress, for both of us.
You take a huge risk.
Lev, I am not playing blitz chess.
And what's to keep me from telling Ziv all of this?
Nothing. Except you want to make money. And you know to look to the future.
Billy pours the contents of the bag onto the table. A pile of stolen credit cards and carbon imprints. Lev lets out a small chuckle, impressed. Cut to Interior New York University MD Admissions Day. The sign behind the front desk reads NYU Medical School. Aron approaches the receptionist. Can I help you?
I would like information about applying to medical school.
Cut to Interior Club Rasputin Day. We're behind Pavel, the manager, as he walks up to the stairs carrying a tray of food. Guards nod to him as he enters Ziv's office. Ziv ignores him. He's on the phone, conversing in Russian. Pavel places the tray on the side table and looks up. He sees Vili standing behind Ziv, his right-hand man. Vili shoots Pavel a look. Pavel leaves admonished. Exterior Brighton Beach Day. Indian summer day. Families play on the beach. Max walks along the water's edge. A soccer ball rolls to him. He looks up, walking towards him. The big bully from school.
Give it, fuckface.
Max picks up the ball. Big bully waits for his next move.
Everyone understands 2 things.
Max punts the ball into the sea. While the bully watches the ball, Max lunges for him, begins a beatdown on a much bigger kid, fists flying, knuckles bruising. On the ball, which is floating in the water, bobbing up and down, in the distance we hear the Coney Island Ferris wheel spinning slowly round and round. End of episode.
Woo!
Very well read, everyone. For those of you listening, none of us are native Russian. We did our best. Hopefully we didn't butcher it.
I didn't offend anyone.
We didn't fool them, you don't think? Nailed it.
I realized how hard it was.
Yeah. Was this your first time hearing the script table read?
Absolutely.
And what did you think hearing it out loud versus just having written it? Anything specifically come to mind on this read, or?
Well, I just think that it's amazing to hear it read, and you guys did such a beautiful job.
Hopefully.
I think it's.
The accents were definitely something we were a little nervous about, so I'm glad we did okay.
It's challenging. I just think that it's really it gives me a greater respect for actors who are working in accents.
Well, we love the script so much, and I think I want to start by kind of the social commentary elements of the script that you work into this narrative, because they're so effective and they're also very subtle. We've read one other kind of similar script. It was Company Town. That's also an American drama that we read probably a couple months ago, but I think it similarly incorporates commentary about both the time it's talking about and our current time.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing I appreciate in the script is you integrate those elements so subtly. You're not heavy-handedly telling us what to think. You're just incorporating them into the story. Can you talk about like towing that line and your process trying to integrate those kind of social commentary elements into the script?
Well, yeah, I mean, I just ultimately find that when things are on the nose or preachy, that it's not fun to watch.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's always trying to be entertaining, trying to tell a story first, and if you can slide in those themes, then that's great.
Yeah, that's kind of the icing on the cake.
Yeah.
So you feel like as a writer, your job is to tell a good story first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Years ago, when I first arrived in LA, I actually did the McKee Story Seminar,
Mm-hmm.
which I found to be really fascinating. And he said, ultimately, your responsibility is just to be truth. So ultimately, I just try to be authentic to the characters. What do they want? Yes, I know I wanted to say things as a writer, And what I found was I was always fascinated by Russian culture, and I always found it to be mysterious. And I myself am a third-generation Russian American. And Hollywood's portrayal of Russians has always been, they're like the big sinister bad guy at the very end. I can remember in Training Day, Denzel Washington, it's like, oh, he's going through all this stuff, but ultimately he owes money to the Russians who just show up at the end of movies. And so I always thought, I was like, well, like I want to actually go in and really experience and reveal what's it like. And ultimately, that's why I decided when I finally found out about the whole Russian-Jewish immigration story and found out that a lot of them were stuck in Italy and also in Vienna for months or if not years before they were trying to get to other countries. And that ultimately led to the birth of the Russian mob as a kind of a global tentacle. It was literally the fact that mobsters were stuck in these like coastal towns in Italy or in Vienna, getting to know each other, and they all branched out and went to different places, which led to a global connection of Russian mobsters.
So that's kind of the Sopranos influence.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really, really interesting. And I was actually going to ask you about that. The choice to set the very beginning of the script in Italy was an interesting one. And I suppose that's grounding it in the historical context that you'd like to ground it in.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've probably gotten notes saying, like, well, you know what, you're not opening in New York if it's an immigration story in America, but I thought that part of it when I was reading and doing the research, I thought it was so interesting to show them as they didn't just go from Russia, get papers, and come to America. The fact that they were already transient in this kind of limbo, and it helps to set up that the family themselves, the stresses of what they're already experiencing. So when it gets to America, we kind of always think that America's this opportunity, and here it comes. And you realize that, no, it's like their situation's just, for Aaron especially, is just going worse and worse and worse.
Yeah, that's so tragic.
I think it's interesting, too, because for Billy's story especially, it's not like he came here and then just out of the blue decided to start picking up, pushing money to people and doing all that. This is his way of life. This is what he's been doing. So I think that it was important that you actually showed over there.
Well, Billy's the fun character to write, because ultimately you realize that it's just, he's Scarface.
Right.
It's just like, America, here we go. And I think the hard part was to just try to figure out how it's, because I actually don't play chess myself, but to find out is like, how do you make specific moves? And you're not writing a movie, you're trying to do a TV pilot, you're trying to set up the universe. So you set up as, well, he's smart, and he's going to kind of calculate his way into the Russian mob, but at the same time, he's kind of taking over control of the family.
Yeah.
And you understand, like back in Russia, the doctor who was now saying, okay, he was the surgeon for the premier of, so he was a super powerful elite guy. And his brother was someone who was in prison.
Right.
So for him, it's like this kind of ego battle for the soul of the family.
Yeah, that dynamic is actually what made me decide to run this script on the show, because it's so just like beautifully written, and I love it's that juxtaposition of Vili and Aron's statuses in the Soviet Union coming to America. Those are completely reversed and undermined by like the bureaucratic structures that impose their journey and their growth in the country, which is just chilling. Like I think it's just so well written. I do want to talk about Aron. I'm glad you brought him up because he is such a tragic character. It's like this pilot is just constantly knocking him further and further down the social ladder in his relationship with his wife. Were there ever drafts when you were like easier on him or harder on him? Like how did you decide? Because it's pretty relentless with Aron, I'd say.
No, I saw him as just a big punching bag. He just kept just kicking. No, the way the story kind of came about originally, I actually had an idea. The original impulse of the idea was I wanted to do a story about like a doctor who can't be a doctor anymore. And I kind of thought, well, what if a guy left his medical license and somehow was like this Batman character who was actually trying to save lives? And I was like, well, how would he, being a doctor actually costs money. Where do you get the medicine? Where do you get your crew? And then I thought, well, maybe a mobster actually comes in and starts to bankroll him. And you kind of have like this mob doctor story. And then there was this show that came on TV when I was thinking of this called Mob Doctor. and then it was canceled like quickly.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, maybe the mob doctor story isn't really the way to go. So I just kind of let it sit aside, and then I started to think more about, this character, and then like, well, Russian. And then my manager at the time, who was himself actually a first generation a guy by the name of Mikhail, and he actually said, well, you should think about really doing like a Russian story, like it's like talk about the roots. And for me, I've always just been, as I say, I've always been fascinated about Russia and my own roots, and I think this was a way of kind of exploring it. So I started doing a lot of research, reading some books, articles, and just the more fascinated I just became. And then, of course, there was a show on the Americans started like popping up, which I was like, oh, well, there goes the Russian 80s.
Yeah.
But
do you watch that show?
Oh, I love it.
It's so good.
Yeah, it's amazing.
There's more room for than just one Russian show. I think you're okay.
Yeah, you're okay. And if anything, I would say it might be a springboard for work like this to get produced, because your take is totally different, fortunately. Though the zeitgeist is similar of like Russian immigrants in the 80s, this is very much a social commentary piece where I don't think that's as... I mean, that those elements exist in the Americans, but I think this is a fresh take on that narrative. I really do.
Yeah,
so.
spies versus doctors and mobsters, totally different.
Right.
Yeah.
I also love the family dynamic of it. I like the fact that Yelena and Aaron have this, conflict, but then they're always trying to protect their kids, Max and Bella. And I was just left wanting more of Max and Bella. And I feel like you can go so much further with them in other episodes. My question is, do you have other things written where they are more predominantly shown?
Well, yeah, I mean, the kind of idea that I had for the larger kind of story, where the story goes, is that, I mean, you're talking about Bella basically being a young Yelena in training. So she's kind of becoming a good-looking girl. And now if you're in America as a teenager, what does that mean? And this guy David that she meets at the boardwalk is actually one of the ruthless. He's a ruthless mobster, which was very hard to try to get in. Like, not, and I realized, okay, you can't get everything into the pilot because I think I'm even running 66 pages a little bit long. So you're like, okay, introduce that character, but you'll see that that's the cocaine snorting, crazy.
He was at the club before the guy was killed.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I connected that right away. I was like, ooh, oh, yes.
So the influence of just basically bad people connecting to this family is just this, that's the challenge, because I think we all kind of ideas that we're all think that we're on this path, but then outside forces, I mean, they can take us one direction or another. And I find for Max, the young one, well, he's got his father who's educated and he's a doctor and all this stuff, but then Billy is just, he's charming. He's fun, and they're bunk beds together. And he teaches him, and that's the thing, is that the lesson that he takes to go beat, the shit out of that kid, well, that actually comes from his uncle.
Right. And it's always your uncle that's like the cool. Like, I feel like
I'm the cool. I'm the cool uncle.
For sure. Like, I feel like most kids, it's like your uncle's way cooler than like your dad.
Right.
So that's a really interesting, kind of exciting thread that I would love to see explored in Billy and Max. Yeah. The family dynamic is really interesting. I'm glad you brought it up. Yelena and Aaron's marriage is so fascinating to me because Yelena is kind of a complicated character because, like, I think objectively she's a bit shallow. Was that like, and I appreciate it's a complexity to sort of the character you've painted. Was that important to you to kind of paint her as someone who's very status obsessed? And that was an interesting choice. I'd love to hear more about kind of that choice for Yelena.
She was a challenging character, and certainly that was a big challenge for me. And how do you not write her off as just being stone cold and ruthless? But then I kind of just rather than try to face off, I just kind of dove into it and said, you know what? The thing that I've actually, I've dated Russians, and I've found that encountering the people is they're not Americans. They don't really have. They sometimes think that Americans' value system is silly. And the reason why is because culturally, going back even before there was the Soviet Union, they always knew that the people at the top were totally corrupt, that the czars, that they were just horrible. And there's a major amount of respect for people that just look after family and do what they have to do for the family to survive. So I think, and obviously when the war happened, they just celebrated Victory Day of last week. When the Nazis came in, it was a brutal experience. So I just think that the Russians are kind of built to survive. They're tough, and they do what they have to do, and they don't really feel that much guilt about it.
Well, they can't because pragmatically they have to survive.
Yeah.
I feel like you did a really good job towing the line there, because at least for me, when I was reading it, I think she cared about her children a lot, and that matters, you know, even though whatever you think about her feelings for her husband, her kids, she really cares about. She wants them in lessons. She wants them to have the best life. And I think she also believes that she didn't come here not to be happy, and that she's earned that, and she deserves it, and she had a shit life growing up, and she came from where she came from, and she's worked this hard, and she's not going to not be happy.
That's a great point, Roxy.
So I thought you nailed that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I do think you do a good job of presenting it as really culturally ingrained. Like, even if it feels like this character isn't necessarily someone we'd meet in the United States, she grew up in potentially patriarchal society, and these might be values that were ingrained in her upbringing in the Soviet Union. So it's really, really interesting.
Well, I just think that Russian women kind of know their value, and I think as Americans, we kind of do our value, but we don't like to talk about it. We kind of think like, no, like we all want to get along, and I sometimes think they're just more blunt about it. But at the same time, I do think when it comes to performance, a lot of this, even what I write, then is dependent upon the actors and how they interpret that. And when I think the things that I find remarkable about television is writers in the room, if the show is going, then they begin to kind of modify that character's behavior based on the performance. So it becomes a collaborative thing. So for me, I'm just like, oh, let me just try to get it all on the page, fingers crossed, hope that this is working. And then I can't wait for the collaboration and the input of people to come in. It's only going to make it better.
Cool. Any questions that you guys had? I've got some more, but I feel like I'm hogging the conversation. Character-specific questions, or... I do want to talk about... You make specific choices visually in this script that I think are so powerful. Like the image of the monkey in the newspaper comes to mind. There's an element of comedy to that scene, but the first time I read this script, I'm a little embarrassed to admit that I got emotional. Like, I found myself tearing up in that moment. Just think, this may be more just me commending you than asking a question, but I think...
No, I think that is a very specific question about the monkey. Where did you come up with that?
Yeah,
that might not even be where you're going.
Well,
that was wild to me.
Right.
That's amazing, because the great thing is I read that, and I was like, where did I come up with that? I honestly was like, what is... Because it's really out there. So then I think, okay, I think I must have been trying to say something. I think I wanted to really find a visual way to get inside of his head of, look, he was the doctor, and now he's butchering animals. And then he sees, like, there's the TV soap opera doctors with their gorgeous hair, and he's looking and he says, even in this country, the monkey, the animal, is dead.
Yeah.
So I was trying to get it's kind of into his mindset of this place is so horrible that he was literally going to he called Tel Aviv.
Yeah.
That might have been, I'm going to work, you're going to stay in America, and I'm going to work, and I'm going to send the money back to the United States. Because, I mean, who knows what Yelena's reaction actually would have even have been. I don't think he was going to force his family to relocate again.
Yeah.
So I think that was supposed to be this kind of metaphor? Is that?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Is Villy gonna hook up with Janie? Is that something that we were setting up for the future?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Is she gonna
Whatever
get,
he
like,
wants,
brought
he
into
gets.
this?
Yeah. There's a lot of, you plant a lot of seeds in this pilot.
Right.
I think.
And I think, is Yelena going to seduce Bert Greenspan?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was some moments,
You know?
for sure. It's such a well-written pilot. I think, yeah, like, for our listening writers, like, big takeaways are your use of subtext, like the general hospital scene, the thing with the monkey. That's just, like, TV especially, it's visual. So those are powerful choices that you're making that really, I think our listening writers should be paying attention to.
The music cues.
Yeah, it's great.
How did you guys feel? Because as I say, when you to hear it read out loud, I sometimes think, wow, it's really not a lot of. For me, as the table read, I thought there was like only maybe 2 or 3 scenes where there were actually characters really interacting with one another. In fact, a lot of it it's very visual storytelling. So when I actually write it or read it, I see it as images. What do you guys think when it?
What do you mean?
Well, how do you feel about table reading versus as this the step of the process towards the idea that this is actually going to be a production? So.
Mm-hmm. If I can take
Go.
part of okay. I think that especially with this script, we can table read it all we want, and it was awesome. I think you guys all did a really good job, but I think that it up on its feet would be a whole next level. You know, some things like little comedies, not little sitcoms. I don't mean little like they're smaller productions, but when it's the back and forth, when we do, if you're just reading at the table, you're like, oh, because it's about the relationship. But this is a world, and I feel like visually you did a great job describing that, but there's not that much we can do to bring that to life. So I would love to see it.
Yeah, I think especially hearing everybody just reading these characters just made me more so, like, because in my head I was like kind of visualizing it, but I just wanted to picture them like on a street corner with like garbage flying around, or the cow being slaughtered was like such an intense thing that I was like, oh my god, I can only imagine watching that. Like it would have to be like on HBO or something to have the visual that I had in my head, but it was like such an intensely powerful thing to like think about in my head that I would love to see it visually produced.
I think mid '80s New York is such a great time of New York. It's New York now is. Everything's gentrified. It's I was there last there in Manhattan '91, and it was right at the turn of bodegas and porn on every corner, just everywhere. And this, you just feel that, and it's kind of, you walk down the street and it's just grimy, and these people coming here, and America, the mountain of gold, and you hear all this, and you come here and it's just plopped in that, and they're just like it's not much different than Russia at that time. I mean, the opportunities are all there, but it's still just that setting. You can feel that in the writing. So it's. And I think it goes what Rocky says about you want to see it.
Yeah, and I feel like when in the beginning, when they were in their own country, they had a lot more dialogue, because I felt that they were more comfortable, obviously, in their own country. But once they go to New York, there's this unfamiliarity, and they're uncomfortable, and it's not what they expected. So seeing those performances on the actors' faces, and just being mindful of the words that they need to say, because they're already being judged, and just thinking like, hey, this is a letdown, this is a disappointment, but we're going to try to make the most of it. I would love to see that on the actors' faces, and their emotions like progress through that.
That being said, though, I do think for this type of prestige television, it's a great balance of dialogue and action. I think that might have been kind of the question you were getting at as well, a little bit, of the balance between action and dialogue. I think it's great. I mean, like, we've read more action-heavy scripts on this show.
Way more action-heavy,
And we've read more dialogue-driven. I just think each pilot is its own beast, and it's kind of, once you finish the read, you get a feel of balance between dialogue and action. I think it works really, really well in this script.
Did that answer your question?
I think so.
Oh, okay.
Was there anything that you guys read or felt about the script that you thought like, oh, you know what, I want more clarity on this, or is there anything that you didn't like? Lay it on me.
It's in great shape. I think seeing a lot of the kind of complex crime negotiations between Billy and his crew would read more clearly on screen. Like, I think on my first read, keeping some of the mobsters straight, and that might have been more on me.
I don't know if it's because that Russian mob stuff is so much of what I love watching. I just watched last night The Equalizer, the Denzel Washington movie.
So
the
good.
Russians were huge in that.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I just pictured the guys, the tattoos, and that whole underworld where they are, I don't think that needs it. I could see it, but maybe that's because that's the wheelhouse of what I love watching.
The one thing I, not even necessarily clarification, but was interested in knowing a little more about was how Yelena actually got him to get these dresses. Like, it seemed like she was just walking, and he was like, yes, I'm going to buy you everything you want. So I was curious, was there like more of an exchange, or was it just like, whatever, pretty lady.
What did
here
she
you...
have to do
yeah,
to
what
get
did she
those
have
You've never reeled in some
for
sucker
a
guy.
drink at the bar.
I mean, I wish I could get a guy to buy me thousands of dollars of dresses.
I'm with some beautiful ladies here, and if they can't do it, I don't know who can. So but I was just interested.
The 80s was a different time.
Maybe, and like we could chalk it up to that, and I'd be fine seeing it. But I was wondering, like, was it her perfume that day, or like what she got going on?
I think. Oh, sorry. I was just thinking, because I just think back to like Pretty Women and stuff like that, where she was able to get this like guy to like
But she
take
was a
care of
prostitute.
her. But maybe he thought she was trying on a tight cleavagey dress. Like maybe he was like, yeah, this girl's a prostitute.
And I know
Maybe.
it was just the exec role, but it was just the way you said the coke addled.
Yeah.
Like I just said, this guy's like, I
Yeah.
got money. Oh, pretty girl. Yeah. What do you want? What do you
Yeah,
want?
yeah,
Throwing in the card,
exactly.
Like he
I
thought he was
see
gonna get a
that guy.
return on it.
Yes, it was transactional, but that's why I
Yeah.
say I always put the money down on the dresser first.
Yeah, I could see what that guy was doing the whole time. It's like I saw like.
And then also going back to your last question, just seeing it on its feet with the camera and the actors' faces. I mean, you guys know when you're getting someone. Like you know when somebody's interested in you, and all you have to do is give them a look, and they're hooked. So I got
I'm gonna try
that.
this. I'm going to
try it.
I'm going to the most expensive
You're gonna
place.
like come in with like Versace dresses and
Yeah.
stuff. We're gonna be like, oh,
I'm wearing
okay.
a tight little dress. I'm ready.
And it was also to set up, all the way back the very first time we meet her. She's literally by herself, just trying to read a book, and some guy gets in her
Yeah.
gets in her grill.
I
and
love
is,
that.
And is literally saying, "Ditch your husband and come with me. I'm moving to a place. Call me daddy."
Yeah.
I guess that's her currency. And
Right.
there is something true about like the Wolf of Wall Street douchebag guy. Like these guys are exceptionally kind of chauvinistic.
Yeah.
So I
in
feel
the
like
80s, of course.
in the
Yeah.
80s,
Oh, yeah.
they're
It was a
coked
better
out.
time.
Something that like interested me a lot in the script was just kind of like the American attitude towards Russians, and because I
Yeah.
mean, being a kid of like born in the late '80s, I obviously didn't grow up seeing those interactions happen. Even though like, I must in my history lessons have known that probably was the attitude. You just don't see that much portrayed. So I was like interested in that. I kept like as they were walking down the street, just imagining people like looking at them with like sneers and stuff. And so that really interested me to see that.
Yeah, I
kind of-
agree, Bree. That was cool.
If you go back and see, there was a great movie with Robin Williams called Moscow on the Hudson,
Oh, yeah.
which is, he's a Russian circus performer, and he declares asylum, and then it's his struggles trying to make it as an immigrant in New York in the 80s.
Wow. What were some of your other influences on this script? It sounds like your history was a huge influence on this script, but
Yeah, there was like, I guess when I start to write, and then I always, whenever I come up with an idea for a project, then there's a lot of Google, and then I start watching shows or things that I think start to kind of filter in. So then I start watching just every mob show that you could, if it was on iTunes or whatever, or on Netflix. And I think Breaking Bad is always, even amongst other writers, we always talk about how Breaking Bad is really the kind of pinnacle of how you want a pilot to be, how it sets everything up. Which is awesome. It also gets really frustrating.
Don't tell me what happened. I'm on the last season.
oh yeah.
Jeez. Did you see Public Morals on TNT? It was only one season. Amazing mob show. So underrated.
I was
Definitely
like, I know
suggest
the
it.
movie.
No, it's Ed Burns. And it's really, really good. And there was parts of this that reminded me of that also. And that's New York, too.
Yeah.
Right.
But really interesting stuff.
Have you ever seen the movie Five Goes West?
Yes.
That's what I thought of. Not the
No.
mob part, but like the family part. And I feel like Five Goes West is like Max's interpretation of what's going on
love
around
that you
him.
just related this to
that's
a
what
little
I-
cartoon about
that's what
mice,
I thought of.
about Jewish mice and cats.
I love it.
Five goes Eastern Promises was a big one.
Oh yeah.
Vigo.
Cronenberg. And I'm a huge fan of the writer Stephen Knight, who also wrote Dirty Pretty Things, which is another film about immigrants there's a cab driver who's actually a doctor in that movie.
Well, it's such a well-written pilot, and it is something. I think it's in great shape. I know you asked me questions, but I really want to see this version of the pilot produced because I think it's really great. I think it's time. It's like, I love, again, there's social commentary in here that isn't on, we're not getting beat over the head with it. Like, I just think it's a show for everyone, but it's challenging in the way that prestige television should be.
Well, I feel that, and certainly in 2017, I think a lot of the themes and things that we're talking about, it seems really relevant.
Correct.
Exactly.
And Russia's in the news all the time,
Right.
but I also think immigrants. I think we
yeah.
have to remember that we are a nation of immigrants, and I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the fact that, my great-grandfather came as an 8-year-old
Right.
on a boat.
Did you meet him?
Great-grandfather? No. My great grandmother actually, I did know.
Did you get to talk to your grandparents about their parents' experience, or your parents about their grandparents' experience?
Yes.
And
my grandfather actually always loved to tell this story about how his father had, I guess there was going to be he was going to be forced to be a soldier in the Russia-Japanese War, and he did 1 year of service, and they were going to call him back, and rather than go back into the war, he went AWOL.
Wow.
And fled across the water, across the border to Finland, and I guess it was fled, chased by wolves and stuff.
Cool.
Wow.
No, I don't even know if that's just a story that I was told when I was a kid. And I was like, is that our family or is that just a
yeah.
story? I don't know.
Well, it does feel timely, and the thing I love about it too, just on that note, is that it's I come from kind of a conservative town, and I feel like if we were to produce a show about the current immigration debate, it would just be a little too politicized. I think you're not excluding any demographics by presenting the American immigrant experience in the way that you are, and I think you're simultaneously creating a hit but a show that's kind of important. I sometimes hate using the word important when describing TV because it sounds pretentious, but I do think this is an important pilot, and I'd love to see it made. So do you have any visions of where you would picture a show like this living? Bree mentioned HBO, which I think makes a lot of sense.
I mean, honestly, whoever wants to
I'm not going to say no.
put it on the air.
Well, FX is doing stuff like this now.
FX or even AMC.
I mean, I only throw out
USA.
HBO and stuff like that because of the visuals I had in my head. I mean, you could redo it and make it less gory than I was making it.
Right. Even WGN, I mentioned this to our company town writer, but they're doing a lot of prestige historical now. They release about one scripted show.
Underground they got, right?
Underground, and then Manhattan, which is about the Manhattan Project. So they love the American historical.
So the company that also did there was one about the Appalachian.
Yes, that's called Outsiders. Is that right?
Have they just announced that they're doing cheaper programming? Did they decide?
We'll see, but I think this feels like a show that should be on TV right now, so we'd love to see it happen. That being said, if people want to find the pilot and reach out to you to purchase it, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
Oh, gosh, I don't tweet, so you can.
You have a manager, just maybe plug him and then.
John Karras at Infinity Media.
Great. Awesome. So for those execs listening who want to buy this script, which we would encourage, John Karras at Infinity is the best way to reach you.
Karas.
How about the rest of you guys? Where can they find you on social media?
Very simple. At Mike Kalinowski. That's pretty much covers everywhere.
And I am all over social media at the Lex Michael.
You guys can find me everywhere at Roxy Stryer.
And I'm everywhere at Lindsay Wegner.
Follow me, so what I'm up to at I am Timothy Mike.
You guys can find me at bfips14.
You can't find me.
And if you guys like today's show, a couple other shows I'd recommend. I mentioned Company Town at the top. That's another American historical drama that we read, but it takes place in the late 19th century. And also, we read an American comedy in one of our early episodes called The United States of Fucking Awesome. And it's about the founding of our country. It's very, very funny. And the last thing I want to say, guys, before we go, is that these scripts were printed to us for free by ARA Printing on Magnolia Boulevard in Burbank.
We love them.
We love them. David, you're a writer. I know you're on the west side, but honestly, their prices and service are so reasonable and exceptional that I recommend you go.
I actually use them a lot.
Great.
Just fan, but also he's so cool because he gave me his card. He's like, just email me so I have it ready for you when you show up.
Yeah.
It's ready. You're there.
It's
awesome.
ready. It's there, and there's a promo code. So if you go with the code Table Read, you get 10% off your order. So spread the word. ARA Printing on Burbank. Until then, guys, we're here next week with another drama, but it's more of a contemporary kind of, I'd say Appalachian set, Cold Mountain type of drama. So we're very excited for that. It's called The Hunter and the Mystic. David, thank you so much. Today we read America's Pilot by David Case, and we wish you the best. Thank you so much.
Thank you for a wonderful job. That was really
Absolutely.
awesome.
And guys, this has been the Unproduced Table Read. We'll see you next week at 10 a.m. Thanks so much. Great.
Wonderful.
Hey.
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network. The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Popcorn Talk Network or its owners or principals.